All right. Time to start with our little section on Aparoksh Anubhuti. As you know, we have been taking one shlok at a time per day. So today's shloka is number 14. Let me chant it for you. Agyana prabhavam sarvam jnanena pravilityate sankalpo vividha karta vichara soyamidrishaha. This is, of course, as you know, written by Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya, and it translates as, all this, born out of ignorance, is dissolved at the dawn of knowledge. The various desires form the doer of action. This is the way of inquiry. Today's shloka is slightly very little difficult to understand, or maybe strange to understand, but let's do our best and see how we can go ahead. So in shlok number 9, if you remember, Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya told us that we as seekers of Vedanta need to have 4 qualifications in place. You know them: Vivek, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti, and Mumukshatva. When we have mastered these 4 qualifications, then what does the seeker have to do? Then the seeker has to sit in self-inquiry, in contemplation, and think about the major questions that a seeker needs to get answers to that will lead to the knowledge of the self. And he also told us what those questions could be. Like, who am I? And how was this world created? And who created the world? And what am I doing in this world? What is my purpose of life? And where do I need to go? So these are the questions which you need to ask yourself. But when? Only when the 4 qualifications are mastered. Because only then you will have the ability to think of the answers, and you have to think of the answers yourself. Now, in shlok 13, when we did the 13th shloka, we understood a little bit how to do self-inquiry, how to contemplate on the question, who am I? Because most of us assume, obviously, that we are a man, a woman, a human being, a mother, a father, a profession, a nationality. We have all these labels. But we learned how to do self-inquiry to negate all these labels and to find out that actually I am none of these. I am Atma. All right. Now, in today's shloka, it's very, very interesting. Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya, in 2 simple lines, which are really quite difficult to understand, he's giving us the crux of the question, how was this world created and who actually created this world? So let's see point by point. I hope that on a Zoom session, I'm able to convey this message to you. So first, understand through an example. If there is an astronaut and he needs to go into outer space, he cannot just go. He will have to put on what is it called? A space suit, so that he is able to go in the environment of outer space, which will support his journey, right? Or if there's a deep sea diver, he cannot just go in a swimming costume into the deep sea. He has to wear a particular kind of suit, a deep diving suit, which will help him to withstand the pressure of the deep ocean. In the same way, when the Atma has to enter the world, the Atma also needs to have a body suit that will support his journey on earth, a bodysuit that will help him navigate his way on earth, that will help him to perceive the things, discover the things that he needs to do, and do the actions that he needs to do. So the Atma will wear what we call a special bodysuit. This body is the suit that the Atma has to embody. He has to wear that. He gets into that suit. As you know, this suit is made of flesh, it's made of bones, it's made of organs, it's made of sense organs, internal organs, organs of action, and a mind and an intellect. And all these will help him to survive on his journey on earth. Who makes this suit and who decides what kind of suit? Because you know, each of us has a different suit. We don't have the same suit. In space, they all wear the same suit. In deep sea diving also, they wear the same kind of suit. But here, the Atma is wearing different suits. You and I have got different suits on. Who's manufacturing this suit? The secret is the Atma, the Jivatma himself, itself, herself, whatever gender you want to call it, manufactures this suit for itself. Based on what? What is the design? How does it decide what kind of suit to wear? It's based on the vasanas that we have created for ourselves in our past lives. So whatever vasana we have in our subtle body, based on that, our suit is created, and it will help us. So when we come into the world again, it helps us to fulfill those vasanas. Now, as you know, an astronaut will remove his suit as soon as he comes back on Earth. The diver will remove his suit as soon as it comes out of the deep ocean. So after its work is done, they remove their suit. In the same way, we, the Jivatma, will remove the suit, will no longer need this bodysuit when its work is completed on earth in the particular lifetime when it is completed. What work? The work that the Jivatma has to fulfill in several lifetimes is to exhaust the vasanas that it has created over so many lifetimes. And when that is done, he no longer will need this bodysuit, and he will return back home, or what we call return back to Om. So now the Jivatma has got two jobs. One is it manufactures this bodysuit so that it can go back to its origin. But the Jivatma will also manufacture the environment, the world in which it will enter to fulfill those vasanas. So depending on the vasana of the individual, the Jivatma will create the world in which it needs to be born. So all this, the shloka says, all this born out of ignorance is dissolved at the dawn of knowledge. All this meaning what? All this means refers to the world, the environment that the Jivatma has created for itself. Okay? And it says it is born out of ignorance. What does it mean? It means that the Jivatma does not yet remember its original nature. It is ignorant about its original nature, which is Atma, not Jivatma, pure Atma. And when the Jivatma creates this world and enters in the world, the manufacturing default, or I would say the manufacturing fault, is that it forgets everything about the past. Means as soon as the Jivatma creates the bodysuit, creates the world in which it needs to enter, the Jeev Atma cannot, this bodysuit cannot remember its original nature. The Jivatma, the bodysuit, cannot remember its past lives. It cannot remember any of the karmas that it has collected. It cannot even easily remember its vasanas, because of which it has created this body and created this world. The Jivatma, this bodysuit, cannot remember the purpose for which it is born. It cannot remember its goal, where it has to go. It cannot even remember that it has created its own world. It thinks that there is a world which has been created and somebody has put me inside this world. No. The Jivatma has put itself in the world that it needs to be put into in order to exhaust its vasanas. The same environment that it requires has been created by the Jivatma itself. So throughout the equipment that it has created, with the help of this equipment that it has created, it perceives the world, it sees every object, it has created himself, and he doesn't realize that it is part of his own nature. You know, the spider creates the web, all the filaments of the web out of his own body. The web and the spider are not two different things. They appear to be different, but the web is created out of the spider and it goes back into the spider when it's no longer needed. In the same way, this world of plurality, this world of objects has been created out of the Jivatma himself. So the two are not different. They are one and the same. But because of the temporary forgetfulness of this bodysuit, of the Jivatma, of the true nature, when it sees all these objects, he doesn't know that they are part of his own creation. So he'll see something, he will see, for example, a pen. He will see this object. And out of a past experience, he will say the name of this object is pen, because he has past experience of it. If he sees something new, for example, that he has never seen before in his life, he will not have a name for it. He will say, I don't know what this is. And he will try to find out from somebody else who has a past experience of it, that this is actually, well, a tea bag. So, because of its past experiences, whatever the Jivatma sees in the world, or whatever the world is named by the Jivatma from past experiences of this life, or maybe from a previous life also. So all the time that the Jivatma lives on earth, in the world, he is living in a world of name and form created by himself out of his own ignorance of his true nature and the true nature of all the objects seen in the world and the world itself. And that is the meaning of the first line. All this born out of ignorance. Okay. What happens to all these things? It says is dissolved at the dawn of knowledge. All this world, this bodysuit, all the objects that he thinks are Vishais, which have a name, which have a form. What happens to all this that is born out of ignorance? It dissolves at the dawn of knowledge. And that is the journey of the sadhak. That is the journey of you and me. What are we doing here on earth? We are trying to dissolve all this name and form by the dawn of knowledge. So our entire spiritual journey is of two words: remembering and realizing. Remembering what? remembering our true nature, remembering our origin, remembering who we are, divinity. How will we remember? By realizing. Realizing what? Realizing that we ourselves, the Jivatma, has created this entire world of Nam and Roop, name and form, out of our own self, out of the ignorance of our own self. For what? To fulfill the vasanas that we have collected over so many, many lifetimes. And he calls this the dawn of knowledge. So when this understanding happens of remembering and realizing, knowledge dawns, Aparoksh Anubhuti happens, and when that happens, all these false notions of Nam and Roop and world and name and form and all this simply dissolves. Simply dissolves. Everything just disappears. And the vasanas, because of which we created this body once again to come back into the world, all this also dissolves. Obviously, if there is no body, there is going to be no vasana for the body, and the Jivatma itself dissolves, all the vasanas get eradicated, Atma becomes free of all bondages. So the ultimate bondage that is keeping us from realizing our true self is nothing but vasana. That is the main thing that one needs to inquire into after the sadhak has completely mastered the 4 qualifications of Vivek, understanding, Vairagya, dropping what is not correct, Nam and form, Shat Sampati, creating the virtues, the strengths by which we can do all this work, and Mumukshutva, a burning desire to actually understand and want to go back to our source. So, what are you and I supposed to do with all this information? I think we should start with perfecting and mastering the 4 qualifications. Then only we can sit and make this self-inquiry fruitful, successful, productive. When we start inquiring into all these things, when we are not yet ready with the 4 qualifications, our time will be wasted. Therefore, even though I'm giving you this information, which is in the 14th shloka of Aparoksh Anubhuti, the disclaimer is that you will not be able to make this successful till you have mastered, perfected your 4 qualifications. So do not waste any more time in this lifetime. Start perfecting yourself and then free yourself from all the bondages. And those bondages are all contained in one simple word, vasanas. More on Aparoksh Anubhuti next Thursday. Till then, start working.